Welcome to Trust Talks with BBB Serving CT. I'm Kristen Johnson. In business, Trust Talks and Better Business Bureau's mission is to enhance marketplace trust. In each one of our episodes, we hope to give you a better idea of what to expect, what to look for, and what to look out for, so you can spend your money wisely and avoid being scammed. Death. It's a topic we often avoid, but we shouldn't, whether it's discussing how we want our assets divided after we're gone, or our final wishes. It's really one that's important to have with your loved one.
The reason they're important is it isn't inevitable. I think the way that we discuss it with our subscribers is that they're actually loving conversations. Times of stress are when things can be difficult in families, and what is a bigger time of stress? When someone is incapacitated or you've lost them. So having those conversations before those things happen provides peace of mind to your family. It depends on the family dynamic. You know, there's certain families who these conversations these are difficult conversations, right? Talking about, so, you know, I've got 3 sons, talking about if something were to happen to me, who is going to make my medical decisions if I can't? Who is going to make sure my financial affairs are taken care of? The parents have that conversation. First and foremost, if it's a couple, the couple needs to have that conversation. If it's someone who's not in a couple relationship like myself, then I've made it pretty clear to my sons, they're all adults. When they weren't, I made it pretty clear to the people who are going to be trustees as to what I wanted to have happen. I didn't necessarily get into it with my sons when they were younger. So I think it's incumbent upon the primary generation to have those conversations and there's some information that you do not need to include to the next generation. There is some information that is helpful to include. I think each family has to determine that themselves. So we've been providing subscription-based tax and wealth management services since 1995, a bit different, with the idea that most middle-class millionaires are inundated with investment advice, get little to no tax planning, tax advice. So we've always taken what we call a tax out approach. Again, Anthony said, we are a team. We've got each other's backs. We win and lose together. If we take care of each other, then we can take care of our subscribers. And we've been having a lot of fun for 30 years. We have an office down in Florida where Brian lives with his wife and 2 beautiful daughters, and look forward to continuing to serve our local community. We have folks in 38 states.
Wow.
And the future's bright. So estate planning happens as to what you want to have happen to the disposition of your assets when you're not around, or again, if you are unable to manage it while you're here. Mm-hmm. So that's the basics of it. Estate planning typically would be wills, trusts, power of attorney, living will, health care. You have minor children and something happened to you, who would be their guardians? That would be in your will. But the plan is, what do you want to have happen?
With your money, with your house.
With your money, your house.
Bank accounts.
Investments, life insurance policies, beneficiary designations all go into that. Okay. Those are separate from what goes through your will. People often get that confused. How you title assets will impact what needs to be in the will. So there is some complications that may not seem to meet the eye initially. People permission to look at your medical records, then you give permission to people to make medical decisions. It can all be the same. It can be different people having access to different responsibilities. a living trust in and of itself does not have a significance. A living trust, though, is one way to avoid probate. Probate is a public circumstance. Your living trust is private. It allows you to often protect assets. The living piece of it is that if I were to put assets into the Daniel J. Friedman Living Trust, I can then take them out if I wanted them. It is a revocable
That was my next question.
type of trust.
Okay. What age should you create an estate plan? Do you, do you have children?
Well, everyone has an estate plan if they don't have one with the state of Connecticut.
Okay.
Once you own stuff, it's time to start looking at, estate plan, asset protection. That also goes into when you talk about trusts. So once you have stuff.
Once you have a house or
yeah, have a house, right? Obviously, children, marriages, partnerships, all those types of things, personal and business-wise, go into what that estate plan is as to what is your estate. Every 5 or 6 years, unprovoked, when we talk to our subscribers, and we have strategic professionals in that space, lawyers, you don't need to have a lawyer to do your wills and trusts. We strongly recommend it, and there's many reasons to do that. They're far more familiar, and it's certain language and process that validates the will. So in Connecticut, they need to be, signed by, witnessed by people who said I was competent to do this, who aren't going to partake in it. It has to be written. So getting an attorney involved is important. And what my wishes were when my sons were babies is different now that they're in their 20s and 30s. So I might want to make adjustments. There may be people who I have as successors who I don't want to or aren't around anymore. So these things often can be 30, 40, 50 years, right? So, when I first did it, I was younger than I am now. I'm 60 now. Figure, 100, I've got a good run ahead of me. So there's 40 more years. So yes, this is an ongoing process. Things can change, acquire things, your wishes change, your family circumstance changes. All those circumstances need to be accounted for. A pour over trust means your will, the assets from your will go into the trust. That whole with the sort of the basic estate plan with a living trust, which is different than an irrevocable trust. Those are more costly to maintain. I'd say, between $2,500, $4,000 with a estate planning attorney. If you're putting assets in and redeeding it and you're not doing it yourself, then, you want to put your home into the living trust, then you decide to take it out, then there's certain documents that have to be done. You can do it all yourself, but typically you'd hire an attorney, and so then there's some cost for their time and expertise. But once you set it up, if there's no significant modifications, then there's no ongoing cost. On any important purchase, and this is an important purchase if you're not going to do it yourself, and you don't have to hire anyone to do it, I strongly recommend it, would be Better Business Bureau, see what law firms are on there, a trusted person, a trusted advisor, make sure that it's reputable, that there's experience. To avoid scammers in general, follow your gut. If you sit down with someone and something just does not seem right, then listen to it and, thank you next and talk to someone else. Those are the ways to avoid scammers. We don't typically see most attorneys out there. There's, the the law board and all this. Not that attorneys are people, and there's attorneys who are not doing the right thing.
Yeah.
But in this space, go to an estate planning firm that specializes in that. There are certifications in the financial world.
Okay.
Again, the same would be that there's some who have certifications on the advanced estate planning rules and regulations. It does not necessarily mean that they are experts in that field. They pass the test, or they pay the a few $100s a year to maintain the certification. Well, there's definitely the probate court is based upon Connecticut law. Okay. So one thing, if you don't have an estate plan, again, there's intestacy laws that the probate court says, okay. An example would be if you're married and have a child and one of the parents passes away and you don't have any estate plan, you don't have anything, you have no will. The first $100,000 goes to the surviving parent. The remainder gets divided 50-50. Interesting. So that may not be what you wanted to have happen, but that ends up what happens. A whole bunch of things on conservatorship. If you have a power of attorney, you can avoid having to go to the probate court. There's the probate court for a minor child, who's going to be the guardians, a whole variety of rules and regulations that are specific, probably similar to other states, but specific to Connecticut. So one thing is, if you move to Connecticut, you don't need new wills and documents per se. You might want to have them reviewed to see if there's some technical thing that Connecticut has that, say, Iowa didn't have.
WMGNA has been accredited with BBB since 1997. What do you hope that accreditation says to your clients?
Well, that we want to be part of the formal business community where we're situated here in Farmington. The Better Business Bureau is the gold standard of professionalism, of ethics, of independence, looking and evaluating. And if there's a problem, people can go to the Better Business Bureau. I don't think we've ever had such a thing. And they will then reach out to us and say, Anthony had a problem with you, and he complained to us. What's your side of the story? So I think that any business who is interested in their reputation and in doing the right thing by the communities that they serve can't go wrong with the Better Business Bureau.
Hopefully this advice can help turn what could be an awkward conversation into something more productive, providing peace of mind and ensuring your wishes or those of your loved ones are honored. And we thank you for joining us for this episode of Trust Talk.